Hello ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much indeed for tuning into this short screen tutorial on how to answer the 7-mark questions for the Edexcel IGCSE History Paper 2 Part B. In the case of my students, it's going to be choice B4, which is conflict, crisis and change in the Middle East 1919 to 95. But no matter which Part B paper you're doing, as part of your Edexcel IGCSE History, the exam technique is exactly the same. So in the case of my pupils, here we have an example Part B question. It's explain the key features of either, not both, either or, the 6 Days War of 1967 or the Yom Kippur War of 1973, and it's worth 7 marks. So you pick one, whichever one you're most comfortable with, and you explain the key features of it. Let's have a look at the success criteria then to see what Edexcel are looking for from a top answer. Here we go. Here's one I prepared earlier. So we all want to be hitting level 3. Let's enlarge that and get rid of that. Right, here we go. We all want to be hitting level 3 because the minimum we want for this question is between 5 and 7 marks. 7 marks if at all possible. Now, I happen to think that this is one of the easiest questions on the whole paper. Not only is it easy, it's worth a lot of marks. It's worth 7 in total. So if we invest some time getting it right, it should pay off. So Edexcel looking for a developed explanation analysing the key features. Now, what does that mean? What are they looking for? They're looking for an explanation analysing the features, plural, you need to do more than one, supported by selected knowledge. So you need to include some knowledge that's relevant to what you're talking about, obviously. Now, if you just do one feature, you're not going to get more than this up here, level 2. So you're going to be capped at 4 out of 7. If you do 2, you've got the possibility of getting 7. So make sure you do at least 2 features. Now, 2 features is fine. You can get 7 marks for 2. So just do 2. No more, no less. You really don't need to. All right, but make sure it is at least 2. So if you are looking for 5 to 6 marks, you need 1 or more features. Okay, right. If you want 7, you need to show links between them, how those 2 features are connected. If you don't show how they're linked, you can't get 7. It's as simple as that. Even if you did 100 features, if they're not linked, you can't get 7. So make sure, let's get rid of this, apologies. Make sure you link them. Okay then, now what does that look like in standard English? Right, here's one I prepared earlier again. So 2 features with links, that's what we're after. Here's what I suggest you do to make it easy on yourself. A brief introduction to start of the 2 features. Essentially just sum them up in a sentence. That's probably what I'd do. Feature 1 is this, feature 2 is that. Explain your first feature in a nice juicy paragraph. Explicitly and obviously link it to the second feature, then explain your second feature. Now when I say explicitly and obviously link it, use the word link, furthermore, as a result, this led to, consequently. To make it easy, if you're struggling, just remember to use the word this is linked to, and then explain why. If you use the word linked, then Edexcel examiners haven't got to go hunting through your answer for it, they can just see it straight away. So use that word link. And then to conclude, a short summary which highlights the link between them again. So if they've missed your first opportunity to show how they're linked, then they'll definitely hit your second. But if you push for time, 2 paragraphs, one which explains your first feature, your second paragraph which explains the link, and then your second feature, simple as that. Okay then. Now what is a feature? What constitutes a feature if you're Edexcel? It's very, very simple. It could be a cause of something, it could be the event, or it could be the consequence. So, pick 2. Now, when I've said here you should link the factors chronologically, from my experience when I've marked these, and I've marked many of them, pupils get themselves in a bit of a mix-up when they try to work backwards in time. Their first feature might be a consequence, and they try and link it to a cause, which, you know, logic tells you a consequence can't cause a cause. So make it easy on yourself. Follow one of these formats here. Oops, we'll go back to that. Apologies. Where's it gone? Here we go. Right, let's go down a little. In fact, no, zoom in. No, in fact, leave it there. You can see it. I would do a cause and linked it to an event, or an event and link it to a consequence. So a cause linked to an event, it's chronological. An event linked to a consequence, also chronological. Or you could do two causes, or two events, or two consequences if you really have to. But to make it simple on yourself, pick one of these. Cause link event, or event link consequence. Nice and simple. Alright, don't make it difficult on yourself. Don't try and work backwards in time. Follow that simple formula and you won't go far wrong. Right, here's the key. You're going to need some precise knowledge to support each feature. So that could include dates, stats, facts, figures, names. As long as it's precise and relevant, you can use it as precise knowledge. I would use paragraphs of indentations to prevent the examiner interpreting your two features as just one big long one, because sometimes candidates do that, especially if they don't use paragraphs. The examiner might struggle to see the difference between your first feature, good, right, and then your second, if you've just blobbed it into one. But if you break it down into those paragraphs, the examiner can clearly and aesthetically see from the get-go, feature one, good, here's another paragraph with an indentation, feature two, excellent, brilliant. Make it easy on yourself and the examiner by using paragraphs to indicate where a feature starts and a feature stops. All right. Final tip: if you're doing causes, don't go back into the deep, dark realms of history. So if you're talking about the UN partition plan, maybe the Balfour Declaration is too remote to start bringing in as a cause of that. Keep it contemporary to the period, and then you can't go far wrong. All right. I don't think there's any more advice here. No, there is not. Now, in terms of timings, 10 to 12 minutes should be fine. So 5-6 minutes a feature, a couple of minutes for your link, and then you're absolutely laughing all the way to the bank. Here's some examples of some 7-mark questions that might well come up in the exam. So explain the key features of maybe one of these. Now, this is not an exhaustive list in any sense of the word. It just gives you some ideas, and then a technique here again. 2 features which are linked and supported by relevant knowledge. Now, how does that look like in the real world? What does that look like on paper? Well, I don't have a 7-mark example from the Arab-Israeli module to show you, but I do have a good example from, I think it's B5, the module about communism in China. But the technique's exactly the same, and hopefully this answer here is going to showcase some of those features that you can look at, understand, and then plagiarize in your own answer. Okay, so how does it start then? It starts, one key feature of the long march were the reasons for it. Okay, so we've got that nice leading language here. 2 secs. Excellent. Got my pen up. Right. One key feature of the long march were the reasons for it. So I've got that leading language. I know as an examiner, the candidate's going to be talking about key features, which is what I want to see. We have that contextual knowledge. The relevant person launched the 5th extermination campaign. Excellent. Relevant contextual knowledge. It's relevant to the feature. So we've got causes here, relevant contextual knowledge. We've got more relevant contextual knowledge, so it's really, really well explained in depth and breadth. I'm liking what I see there. Well, to get more precise, we've got a name of someone relevant to this cause, which is going to really, really impress the examiner. So all in all, we've got a good-sized first paragraph here, which is excellent, nice and chunky, so all of that there. Apologies for my random boxes, but that's a fantastic first paragraph. Nice leading language, well explained, specific or relevant contextual knowledge. We've got some names in to really impress the examiner, to convince them that we know what we're talking about. Excellent, very, very impressed with that first feature, which was a cause. Now, we need to see now that, give me 2 secs. Excellent, right, we need to see that they've linked it and then done a following feature. Well, here is that link. As a result, blah, blah, blah. So they've shown how it's linked. The cause, as a result, links to second feature. Now, to improve that, I might suggest to the candidate, if they were one of my pupils, Why not use the word linked as well, as a supplement to, not replacement for, as a result? Then the examiner can clearly see that, but that's a good way of linking as a result. But could it be improved? Maybe by throwing that word linked in there somewhere. We then have our second feature here. Let me get my magic pen back. Here we go. So we've got our link to start. Along the way, this happened. Some nice contextual knowledge. We've got an event here. Well, then we go into our contextual knowledge, some detailed facts and figures, which the examiner can't argue because they're factually correct. So a really, really good way to back up what you're saying, whack in some statistical or factually numerical specific contextual knowledge, dates, facts, figures, years, names, because the examiner can't argue with them. So we've got our, to start with, the cause, a nice juicy link, and well, very, very impressive. Second feature, right here, both supported by that relevant contextual knowledge. So that looks very, very impressive to me. Two features with a link. Let's go back to our success criteria or mark scheme. We need a developed explanation analysing the key features. We need an explanation analysing features, so more than one. Have they got more than one? Yes, they have. Supported by selected knowledge. Is there selected knowledge there? Yes, it's detailed, it's precise, it's relevant, it's contextual, contemporary to the period. Fantastic. Have they got, well, 5 to 6 marks for one or more features? They've got one or more. 7 marks for answers which show the links between features. Have they got that? Yes, they most certainly have. So I would, if I was examining that, award it 7 marks because it's got 2 features with a link between it. So there you go. Very, very simple. I hope you've enjoyed that screen tutorial. For loads more, visit my website www.historychappy.com or my YouTube channel. And thank you very much and good luck in your exam. Goodbye.